This changes everything for the Los Angeles Lakers as we have multiple big Lakers updates, including updates surrounding LeBron James, but also most importantly, Rui Hachimura, as a report has dropped surrounding his injury. That is very intriguing. We're going to break that down as this has major implications going forward. Stay tuned for all that. Before we get into it, if you're part of the 90% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. If you want to help us towards our big goal of 20,000 subscribers, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lakers obviously have a big game tonight, an earlier game on the East Coast, but we have some big news as it pertains to the injury report for the game tonight, but most importantly, some news that has come out surrounding Rui Hachimura that changes the landscape of how the Lakers are going to approach A, the rest of their season, and B, even minutes into the postseason. And let's dive right into it right here. So we know that there's been some reports lately surrounding, Lakers have been heavily riddled with injuries as of late. They're finally, in theory, fully healthy, and so we thought ahead of the game against the Bulls before they lost that. But it came out that Lakers, Rui Hachimura has been playing through significant injury with the playoffs approaching. He has been, but he is playing now through significant injury. And it started with this. He said, my knee is going to be like that for a while. And he's obviously talking about his knee injury that kept him out for a few weeks there. He is not at 100%, but it is not ideal. And you can see this here. Rui Hachimura says his knee feels about 70 to 80% back to normal. He says he recognizes that it will likely be that way for a while, so long as he keeps playing through the injury. He could use more rests on it, but that's just not an option right now. And this is very rare. You don't see this too often, especially, obviously Lakers are very careful when it comes to injuries. And in this case now, Rui Hachimura with, only a dozen or so, however many games there is left in the season, a few weeks left of the regular season before the playoffs, the Lakers are at a point where, A, they definitely need to be winning a lot of these games. They're trying, and we'll dive into it a little bit later, they're trying to, either push for the 2 seed, the 3 seed, obviously stay out of the play-in. I think they're in a good spot for that, especially with all the, healthy players coming back, specifically LeBron James. But the bigger issue now is that Rui Hachimura is not 100% healthy, and this kind of has fans split because half the fans are saying, even more than that, they should just rest him until the playoffs, or they should have rested him in general. The other half is saying they need to get chemistry back and, of course, rise up the standings for the playoffs. But it's at the point now where he's only 70 to 80% back to normal, which is not something that you ever want to see following a game nonetheless. And we know that JJ Redick came out prior to the game against the Bulls and said that Rui Hachimura is going to be on a minutes restriction, 20 to 25 minutes for the foreseeable future. And that does make sense. Dorian Finney-Smith, luckily, is, they made that trade for him so he can be the guy who's going to be starting most of the games, you assume now, at the 3 and 4. But it is not exactly what you wanted to hear, especially given the fact that it's not like Rui Hachimura only missed a week and then he was back, or a few games and then he was back. He missed a fairly significant amount of time. So we figured that because he missed that amount of time, once he came back, he would be basically fully healthy. And even LeBron didn't look super great out there. He looked okay. It's not, nothing crazy, but he didn't look fully healthy, right? And that's obviously going to be something to keep an eye out going forward. And I think ultimately LeBron will be fine. We have a couple quotes from him later here. We can see this here. As long as the group is healthy for the postseason, they like their chances. LA wants to get a top 4 seed in the Western Conference to ensure they have home court advantage. And Luka Doncic even came out and spoke out on the team's current spot, saying, I think we're in a great spot. Today wasn't a good game, but I think we're in a great spot. Got to play hard every game and to try to not get in the play-in, which is, very accurate. They need to completely avoid the play-in at all costs here, especially given the fact that they are at a point now where if you miss, if you get into the play-in spot, we know JJ Redick came out and was very adamant about not getting into the play-in. The Lakers have made the play-in so many times over the past handful of years. Every time they make the playoffs, it seems like it was in the play-in tournament, and it was. Every time they made the playoffs, it was in the play-in tournament. So for them to now hopefully avoid that scenario completely, is the first time in a while, is going to be big. And here's some of the full quotes here. I was like 70 to 80%. My knee's going to be like that for a while, I think. I can't really get back to 100% right away. I got to rest for a long time to get back to normal, but I don't think we have that, so we just got to maintain and manage it. On where's knee pain affects him the most, it's just everything. This is one of those where whatever you do, jump, stop, slide, everything is going to feel it. My left leg has got to be stronger. Still don't have the explosion. That's going to be key for me, is just getting stronger. That's going to be the key for me. All the movements, just everything going on, I can feel it. So I have to kind of manage it and play through it. So not only is he 70 to 80%, whatever you want to call it, but he is at a point now where he is pretty much saying that he is not going to be healthy for a while. And not only is he not going to be like fully healthy for a while, he probably won't even be fully healthy for the postseason. And that's where the bigger impact and the bigger implications come from this specific injury, is that the playoffs is where it's going to matter the most. Obviously, in the regular season, you can kind of manage it, minutes restriction, all these different things. But come playoffs, Lakers want to make a deep run. Having Rui Hachimura fully healthy is going to be something that absolutely is going to help and be very crucial. We saw how good he's having, a very good, you could argue a career year. He's having a very good season. And for him to come out now and again, he fits alongside Luka really well, being that spot-up shooter, being the guy who can space the floor. If he's only 70 to 80%, especially with these quotes about his knee being a little bit, he affects him in every single way, even defensively. It's going to matter a lot in the playoffs, and that's where that's where it becomes a little bit scary. So let us know down below what your thoughts are on that. Hopefully, Rui Hachimura can, probably play tonight, and you study the schedule there. They have a pretty interesting schedule coming up of Orlando, Indiana, Chicago, the East Coast road trip, and it's at the point now where on this East Coast trip, you need to be able to win a lot of these games to, again, stay out of the play-in. But you're just coming off a brutal loss from Chicago. So we're looking tonight for JJ Redick to really, hammer it into them that you need to win this game tonight, especially now that everyone's fully healthy. But speaking of fully healthy, we have an injury report, and this is even dives into it even more. Maxi's out, Bronny James with the South Bay Lakers, LeBron is probable, Luka's off the injury report for the first time in a while. Everybody's off the injury report. But Rui Hachimura is questionable now, and this is going to be this way for the rest of the season. He's going to be in and out of games. You have to assume there's going to be games where if his left knee is flared up and he's feeling it more, he's going to be resting. But at the end of the day, he is questionable once again. And I'd almost rather, because you have Dorian Finney-Smith and you have other guys who can kind of contribute to this team, part of me would almost rather the Lakers just rest him until the playoffs and try to get healthy. But I think at this point, there's no getting healthy until whether it's surgery in the offseason or just significant amount of rest, which is going to be weeks and weeks. You need to get him back into game shape. So that injury report's going to be interesting. We'll keep you up to date as the new ones continue to drop. But at this point, LeBron's going to play. Everyone else is going to play. And Rui is questionable. It's up in the air if he is going to play in the game tonight, which is a pretty big game. And you look at the injury report again, it's finally clear. Like, everybody is healthy now. You have Gabe, Dalton, Knecht, Jordan Goodwin, Vanderbilt. Like we've always been seeing now for the past month. Injuries everywhere, whether that's, Luka Doncic being questionable, Luka Doncic being upgraded to probable every day, Jackson Hayes, all these different things. It's pretty clear now. We're down the home stretch of the regular season. The playoffs are just around the corner, and every game still matters as they are trying to avoid that play-in spot. And LeBron James came out and spoke about his injury a little bit and how he's feeling. He said, I just take it day by day. I can't worry about what can happen in the future, but I got through today. And of course, Doncic even talked about LeBron returning, even though they lost by whatever it was, 31. But he believes that the team will bounce back and have their lives easier with James back in the court. He's back, so it's going to be easier for everybody. He just makes the game easier for everybody around him. And I think ultimately the loss against the Bulls was just a blip. I think they're going to be perfectly fine. It's going to be a pretty big game tonight against the Magic. You have to find a way to take care of business here before you play some harder competition coming up. And even, following the loss against the Bulls, it's going to be important that the Lakers come out and continue to win some ball games so that they can go out and obviously, like I keep saying, avoid the play-in, which is something that not only the players want to do, like Luka Doncic mentioned here, but also what JJ Redick wants to do so you get the easier, favorable matchup, especially with Rui Hachimura dealing with injury. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know down below what your thoughts are. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.